noble citizens, we must bypass a life of dormancy and vice to pursue the generative endeavor of a hard day's work. The benefits of these pursuits are not secured by chance or charity, but through the merit of your character and the firmness of your convictions. It is you who are planting the seeds of trees whose shade you know you shall never see.
Nice.
Perfect. Nice. We're in. Hello. Welcome to the Broken Wind podcast. It's the original duo, the main host. It's your friend, colleague, Butler here, and then the super producer, Vane. And we're here to spit facts and talk about the damn news. What's going on with you over there, Vane? What's going on?
Oh, I just had a day off, did a lot of chores, and got prepared
Nice.
for the latter half of this episode, which I'm excited for.
Nice.
We're going to be talking about Republicans and modern republicanism and the evolution that has led up to Trump and how Trump is really nothing all that new. It's a continuing trend of republicanism, so we shouldn't be all too surprised by the ongoing mutations of that. And we're going to start with 20 or 30 minutes of news, and then that is going to cut out. Anybody on Spotify or Apple getting the free stream is going to have to subscribe in order to hear our discussion on republicanism.
Yeah, and there's one question people are really begging for us to answer, and so I just want to get that out of the way right off the top. I think in the question of if 100 human beings would win versus one full-size silverback gorilla, the obvious answer is it depends on the human beings we're talking about. If it's just random selection for 100 different guys, I think they're going to win they're going to lose 9 times out of 10. But if you got like 10,
perhaps more,
right? If you got 10 6-foot plus guys who are all really fit and strong going in, they probably have a better shot. But I mean, it's not very good of a shot. It's not something I think any of them
great chances unless you've worked on that. What makes you bring this up, might I ask?
It's just a question that's going around on the internet, and I figured we should, if we're doing things that are contemporary and new, we should do that. One thing we had to make sure to cover, because this happened literally, I feel like right after we stopped recording our last episode, was J.D. Vance killed the Pope. So that was crazy.
Yeah, he definitely did.
J.D. Vance killed the damn Pope. And that's, Well, I think the thing I have been thinking about with the Pope is it's given me a whole new layer of appreciation to Pope Francis, who was already the most admirable Pope in a very long time.
Perhaps ever? I like to say he's my favorite Pope.
I think that's fair. And I think that the thing that people don't talk about enough with his death is that he very clearly died at a very specific time, because that motherfucker was very ill. And he stayed alive until Easter Sunday. And that was because, for Catholics, Easter Sunday is a big deal, and Easter Sunday service was a big deal. So he stayed alive for that and then died. And he stayed alive for that and to meet J.D. Vance. Who knows? But I think using your death to...
That could have been when he gave up.
I feel like I'm now loving the idea of saving a meeting with one of your worst enemies for right before you die, so as to leave that shadow over them of, like, did they kill? I think that's a really cool...
Yeah, right. It's a pretty good way to do it.
Right. I was like, that was the thing that really made me be like, Pope Francis is a real one. That he, even in death, he leveraged his death to make J.D. Vance look bad. And I love that.
Yeah, and also I love to point out the irony that J.D. Vance is this guy who is a late-in-life Catholic convert, which is already strange in and of itself.
Yes, it is.
And when he converted, Pope Francis is the only pope that he's known in the time since he's converted to Catholicism. And it's just funny that he has chosen to strongly disagree with the Pope's interpretation, which is that Pope Francis is pro-Marxism, and he has written doctrines that are pro-Marxist, which is a major evolution in the Catholic Church.
Isn't it blasphemous to disagree with the Pope?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of funny that you would join the Catholic Church and then disagree with the Pope. Even though
get out of here.
That's blasphemy. And it's taken a long time for the church to correct itself over time, which I think is admirable, honestly.
They're not there yet all the way either, but...
Not all the way. I'm frightful of the next pope, and I don't think he'll be of the quality of Pope Francis. And if the past is any type of indication of what kind of pope we're going to get, right before a world war, we're probably going to get a very reactionary, anti-communist pope,
Interesting.
most likely, as we did before the world wars as well.
We are very much on Pope watch on this show. I'll say that
we
for
are
sure.
on Pope watch. I don't think they've appointed the new Pope yet. I seriously doubt he's going to be as good as Pope Francis.
We are reaching out to cardinals. And dude, that was something I wanted to make sure to mention on the show too. It is fucking hilarious watching the, Catholic journalism people roll out their cardinal stat sheets for the conclave, like it's like college football coverage. That
right.
is awesome.
They got the stats, really, all the statisticians going out there.
I really enjoy that. And there's gonna be Money Pope. We're gonna make a movie called Money Pope.
We're here to play Money Pope.
Anyway,
but also, I think it's a good thing that we're talking about the Pope. In all seriousness, we had the episode on Protestantism, and we are working on our Italian series, which will most definitely be talking about the Catholic Church and the Pope.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Italy and not even mention the Catholic Church.
Yeah, we'll talk about the failures during the world wars of the popes. I was going to
say, too, about Pope Watch. I want to say one more thing about Pope Watch, which is that the Filipino Pope does seem to be the most progressive, quote-unquote, option of the emerging options. I don't know if he's out of the running yet. I don't know if that's even monitored in any way, but I also know that one thing that many commenters I've heard say that's very interesting, too, is that Pope Francis appointed a huge number of the current cardinals who will be electing the next pope, which is another unique thing about these circumstances. So, being tentatively optimistic about the Catholic Church is, I think, probably a fool's game, but it's still going to be, again, we're on Pope Watch. Another thing I want to make sure we fit into this news segment here, we got the Scott Bessing clip we're going to play. That's going to be hilarious, but I don't know if you're aware because this just happened. Jerry Connolly.
Like that Pope is Antonio Tagle.
Yes. Yeah, dude. Watch this, dude. Watch this space.
Yeah. You were saying Jerry Connolly?
Yeah, Jerry Connolly is stepping down from the Oversight Committee because his cancer is really bad. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, surprise. They shouldn't have chosen him.
The rage in your voice, they shouldn't have chosen him. It's like, yeah, of course. It's so moronic.
Everyone was saying that at the time, so.
Everyone said it at the time. It seemed preposterous to be doing something like that, and yet the Democrats. And, we're going to talk about the Republicans.
We're talking about the Republicans. We're going to have to talk about Democrats.
Yeah, I got to talk about the Democrats, too.
Just like in our Democrat episode, we talked about Republicans.
Apparently, Nancy Pelosi was in, I think, Italy, in a hospital bed for having fallen, and was now making sure her damnedest that AOC did not become the Oversight Committee chair and that Jerry Connolly got the gig, which is cool. And, shout out, girl boss, we love her. She's a queen. She's masterful. She is in the style of some of the great, I think of the Borgias and people of that era, those very, very crafty, very long-sighted, maneuvering sort of political people. And that's Nancy Pelosi. She knows how to move. So
got the moves like Jagger.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I wanted to cover about the Democrats. Did you have anything you wanted to cover about the Democrats other than that?
No, not until we really get into... I have something to say about the Democrats once we get into the latter half of the episode, where we do a Republican breakdown. We are going to have to talk about the Democrats a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking insane I don't give a about Congress or the Oversight Committee, honestly. It's one of those things that's this is really stupid, but it's also, again, what are they going to... It's they're now arresting judges, too. That's something we hadn't even brought up in the news coverage, too. I didn't have here in my notes, but I just remembered as critically important to mention that
so important.
That is an insane escalation of things.
Yeah, a judge who was allegedly helping immigrants escape out a side door is the way that they frame it. And we're going to be talking a lot about the way that framing controls everything, and that the Republicans are the best at setting the message. And that's going to be a major part of the analysis, and why we're going to have to keep bringing up the Democrats is that they are secondary to the messaging of the Republicans. The Republicans set the tone and the narrative. They are the dominant party at the time in terms of media, and the Democrats can't help but just have their back in a corner and be afraid of their own shadow and try the same tired old approaches over and over again.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a lot about the parallels that happen between older politicians and new ones. Like you've got LBJ and Biden, for example, and just the similarities of being masters of the Senate, yet failures and one-term presidents.
Oh, it is interesting, yeah.
Unable to articulate a real response in the time against the right-wing Republicans' desire to beat the drums and go to war with Vietnam. And you have the Democrats constantly capitulating. That's a major theme that we're going to talk about. And the same thing happens with JFK in the Bay of Pigs, going along with the Bay of Pigs instead of having a spine, and finding out that the Republicans and the right-wing oligarchy behind them, essentially, that's always existed and has been a growing problem in this country, essentially, they've been pushing even Democratic presidents to fall into line along the Cold War narrative, for example.
Yeah. Before we get into that, too, we should definitely play, I mean, it greatly dovetails off the Cold War, that we should play the Scott Bessent clip, because we were laughing to each other about that earlier. That's hilarious. Like, let's just play this clip.
Shook.
I want to listen to this with you. It's so funny, dude.
And we are in a new Cold War with China. It's pretty apparent that the same fear-mongering that we had with Russia or even China at the time, too.
And the Democrats are nowhere to be found, too, you know?
Yeah, Democrats are nowhere to be found. Republicans setting the whole pace of the narrative, and Democrats just saying, oh, well, I guess people are afraid of China, so I guess we're also going to be anti-China and set up like the TikTok ban and all these complete failures that are really trying to cater to right-wing narratives.
I know, an incredible own goal.
But they're all own goals. And we're going to talk about here now Scott Bessent.
There's all these Democrat operatives coming out now, too. Like, it just came out today that they were very much not trying to push Israel at all to stop the war in Gaza. And
perfect example.
Anti-Semitism czar being interviewed. I think we talked about that in the last episode. But, it's like they're worse than useless.
Yeah, the parallels of, like, LBJ failing to handle Vietnam only to have Nixon get in and make the situation in Vietnam much worse. It's so similar to Gaza and the mishandling of Gaza.
Funny. Yeah, I just was looking up, I was just thinking to myself, like, what's Scott Bessent's job again? He's definitely a finance guy of some kind, obviously a hedge fund manager. First job out of college was for Soros Fund Management, so, hilarious.
Awesome.
It's like, I'm not even like an anti-Soros
and Trump
guy.
has praised him as a real smart guy.
Yeah, well, like, let's listen to this together.
Let's listen to this guy.
I want to laugh with this with you. It's genuinely such a funny clip, I feel like.
I wish to be clear. America first does not mean America alone.
No, you got to play that again for me.
To the contrary, it is
It cut off on him saying America alone.
All right, no worries, 1 second.
I was like waiting for it because it's so funny. His voice like quavers. It's like he's acting. It's gorgeous. It's like if I was trying to direct someone to behave.
I wish to be clear. America first does not mean America alone. To the contrary, it is a call for deeper collaboration and mutual respect among trade partners. Far from stepping back, America First seeks to expand U.S. leadership in international institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. By embracing a stronger leadership role, America First seeks to restore fairness to the international economic system.
He sounds so shook.
America First does not mean America alone. Like, it's like I said, like, if I was trying to direct someone to sound like a government official who is very concerned about the future solvency, the financial solvency of their government's economic system, that I'd be like, look, it needs to be subtle, but like just a little quaver at the just subtle, and like it's so perfect. America First does not mean America alone, and it's like Dude, you guys just put tariffs on everyone. What are you talking about? Like, everyone's getting tariffs.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the meaning of America First quite a bit as we go into the Republican half of this episode. But yeah, this is a growing pattern of republicanism that says that we're essentially immune to international law while also imposing an international law that essentially means the powerful have the freedom to do whatever they want, and the weak are to submit to that law no matter what, essentially. And that's really the legal system that they try to impose, which they call American exceptionalism. And it's sort of built around Roman private property, essentially. Private interests built the Roman legal system in such a way that might makes right, and the powerful are in control by definition, and it is the obligation of the weak to submit to the law. And essentially this means that freedom is the free market of the Roman slave economy, the Roman slave mode of production, which said that you are free to fall victim to whatever your fate is in the market. So that could mean free to sell yourself into slavery. It's everyone's right.
Well, and that's what we're seeing with the f***ing CCOT bullshit. It's been said to death that, like, prison is a way for the state to reinstitute slavery under terms that are amenable to everyone else. And that's not an exaggeration.
Right.
And now, as we alluded to earlier, they're showing that they're wanting to throw off the shackles of the judicial system, too. And that's creating all these contradictory forces within the government and the financial system, because the bankers don't like that shit, actually. You know what?
Yeah,
as
the
much
bankers
as you
like
guys want to
stability.
do your Herrenvolk asshole shit, the bankers understand that this is all bad for business. You do need people to do a lot of these jobs that white people do not want to do, and that's not necessarily like a good thing that labor arrangements have their own apartheid nature in the United States. I don't think anyone would deny that.
Right.
But the reality is that it's still way worse to be treating these people like they're f***ing criminals when a lot of times they're not. And even if they are, like, rehabilitation is something that's worthwhile to invest in, and people are worth investing in, and it's f***ing infuriating. Like, do you know how expensive a f***ing metal roof is, man? You know, it's like with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, he's a metal fabricator, and like, that shit is
the guy could be producing metal roofs
really
right
do
now.
that. Yeah, like it's f***ed up. Like, it's hard ass work. So it's like, it's so f***ing shitty to be treating some, you know, you got that guy who's like a gay barber guy who's been filmed multiple times. Like, it's so horrific what they are doing at this point.
It's about creating exceptions to the law, which we'll talk about quite a lot, that's a growing pattern within republicanism and within the mindset of American exceptionalism, that this international law doesn't apply to me. It's okay for me to do this sort of thing. But if other people were to do it, it would be terrorism. And that's a clear part of the Republican playbook, which has been to control the use of language and to define things however they see fit for their political purposes.
To define themselves even how they see fit for their political purposes. Because
as the patriots, no matter what.
Why don't we say we're going to switch over to the paywall now, because we're at about 20 minutes. Please do subscribe to the Patreon, especially Nayib Bukele. Stop pirating the show. We are on to you. And then...
and if you want to hear the rest of what we have to say at Bukele, you're going to have to subscribe now to the Patreon.
And Chinese Trump, please answer my queries. We really want to bring you on. We want to hear your commentary on China. We want to start building relationships in China. There are AI tools. We can do it now so that it's in Chinese and English. And, you know, we can do this. So let's do business. Chinese Trump, subscribe to the Patreon, and we'll see everybody else over there.
The episode you just listened to is significantly shortened in order to fit our monthly time allotment. To listen to the full episode, subscribe to either one of our Patreon tiers. The $5 monthly tier will give you access to all of our content, including the news updates and the forbidden courses. And the $3 tier will unlock access to all of our news updates as soon as they are available. We hope you enjoyed this free content, and if you did, then we hope you'll consider subscribing or leaving a positive review.